finished a record together and it's been great. And, now I'm recommending him to other people that I'm working with. And yeah, I feel like often when people have an idea about who they want to use, it's great.
Amazing. So, we all have days where we're, super pumped to get in and work, and there are days that we're a little less inspired. Do you have any practices to stay fresh, stay creative in the studio?
I don't know. I feel like the less I think about it, the more I worry about that kind of stuff, And I feel like the thing that's helped me stay fresh and creative and all of that has just been showing up every day and getting, the first maybe hour of making something feeling just like a muscle as opposed to this like big daunting creative question that you need to answer, and kind of just getting into that flow of, opening up a new session and just starting something has been the best thing for me, I think, in terms of staying creative and not really getting too stuck on ideas.
So you like scheduled out, like, do you like, wake up the same time? Is it routine? Like, do you get in the studio at the same time and like, okay, it's go time,
For the most part, my week is like, I'm very rarely in the studio on my own. So if I'm doing a session or whatever, we usually start at the same time. But I don't think that kind of routine is, I think the most important thing is just doing something every day. Like, even if I'm on tour or something, just finding a time to open Ableton and just spend half an hour making a beat or something is really important to me. And I feel like it keeps me just feeling grounded and on top of things.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the other thing that helps me kind of just keep things moving is not letting myself get attached to anything. And, if I get an hour or 2 hours or 4 hours into something and it doesn't feel like it's working, just kind of pressing save and opening up something new and not feeling, or I guess kind of getting over whatever that ego thing is that's like making me feel like I have to finish something to prove it to myself. Yeah, I think that's been a really good thing to realize and just get better at, just like leaving something aside and starting something new. And especially if that's in a session environment, I think if you're feeling that, the other person probably is as well.
Yeah, that's true. You could totally feel the energy. Sometimes it's good to just walk away and start over and do something else and do it another day. It's hard. I feel like I don't know. At least with me, I've been disciplined to be this like it's like the American Jewish, work ethic where you gotta you go, get to school at 7 a.m. in high school for some reason and just keep at it, It's like sometimes for creativity you need a bit more space,
Yeah, I mean, I think it's probably different in the like engineering and mixing world where your relationship with the artist is a little bit more obscured and it's more of a technical thing than a creative one. Like, if I'm mixing something and I've told the artist that they can expect it on a certain day and they've kind of, made their release plan revolve around when they think the mix is going to be done. And if I'm not feeling it that day, I can't just say, sorry, I'm not feeling it. Go figure everything else out, reroute your tour or whatever, because I couldn't figure out the mix, I feel like in those creative, if I'm writing or something and it's not working, it's important to put it aside. But with some things, I still feel like there is an element of like, you just have to kind of do it and figure it out. And I feel like that really comes with time and with just confidence and getting into those rhythms and knowing, just getting better at your craft.
Yeah. I do feel like there's like an element of, spontaneity in this industry of like, you could plan out your week to a T and things are still going to get, the singer doesn't come in and doesn't have her, her voice that day. You're going to have to reschedule it. Like things happen and you always things are a little bit always in flux, and it can be a little stressful, but it's part of the magic and the beauty of it,
Yeah. I think if you can kind of get your head around all of those things and not get too fazed by any of it and be reliable, like that's kind of the best thing you can do for the people that you work with.
Yeah. I'm like noticing a trend of like, having done this for long enough that like it's the it's like 70% of the week is going to work out the way you think it's going to work out, and 30% is going to be in flux, and you're going to just have to deal with it.
Yeah.
It's something like that. It's like around 70%, I would say. Do you have any advice for emerging artists that are getting started? Looking back on your journey, like. What would be your words of wisdom to a young artist who wanted to get exposure and to start getting noticed as an artist?
I think finding your community is the most important thing. And I think that if you find your people, however that is, everyone's wins kind of, you can kind of bring everyone else with you, and you can kind of get brought somewhere by other people's wins in your scene and stuff like that. And I think finding that is really important, and finding those people that you can play shows with and get in the studio with and collaborate and trust. And yeah, I think that's been really the best thing for me over time, and it's made this job really meaningful and special.
Yeah.
And I think that there's really no way to calculate any of the other stuff. Like, I had songs that I put out independently go way further than I ever imagined. And I had songs that came out on a major label go a lot less far than I thought they might, And I think that, having the infrastructure is great when it's there, but I don't think by any means it's something that you should wait for to start releasing and to start touring or any of that stuff as an artist. I think just kind of keep going and finding your people, and at least in my experience, everything else is kind of seems to be sorting itself out.
Yeah, love it. That's great advice. I did on that point. I have an interesting question which just kind of popped into my mind. It's something I was thinking about yesterday because I was talking to a friend of mine who just I don't know why, just rebranded his artist name, and he's leaving his old artist name up on Spotify, but he's rebranding it. I'm like, okay, I don't get it, but okay. And I was thinking, you know what? And then I went down a rabbit hole on Spotify, looking at my old music, which the EP I made in 2010 kind of sounds like a joke. It's great for it's hilarious because it's like my first attempt of doing something, but it actually sounds kind of embarrassing. But the songs are still kind of cool. And I was thinking, do you keep that stuff up? Do you take it down? What's the right approach? What do you think?
I don't know. I mean, I have friends who have put a couple songs out independently and then, been approached by a label or a publisher or another kind of team member, and they've kind of suggested to take everything down and start from scratch with a really fully formed product on day one, and an expensive looking music video and the whole thing. And I've seen that really work, and I've seen that also really not work. And I don't think there's one way to do it. And I think that, I don't know, as a listener, I love being able to go back into an artist's discography and kind of see how they started and then where they got to. I think that's a really captivating thing about Death Cab and about Coldplay and M83 and The National and so many of those bands that are on their 7th or 8th album by now. You can go back to album 1 and kind of see what they were trying to do and then follow them to where they ended up. And I think that there's a lot to learn from that as well, from a production standpoint. And I think it's really captivating, and it makes things really believable. Whereas sometimes, if there's a new artist that kind of pops up and there's heaps of marketing around it and they're on song number 1 and it sounds really polished and fully formed, sometimes I think it's hard for a listener to buy into it. I don't know. That's me, at least.
Yeah, no, I think I agree with you. And it's interesting. I was like, why would you leave all that, music on the side, and now no one's going to find it. But, it's interesting, and it just made me think, what's the right move? Does something that doesn't sound good, could it hurt somebody's reputation, or could it, just enhance the story? Which is what you're saying, and I think I agree with you. I think the journey is fun.
The journey is fun, but I mean, I should stress again that there's really no right way to do any of this stuff, and I kind of don't know anyone who's sat down and gone, okay, I want a record deal and I want big songs and music on the radio and sold out shows and just kind of executed it. I feel like it's always just, there is an element of chance.
Yeah.
And I think that the best thing that you can do is just keep making stuff and be ready for that opportunity when it arrives. And
yeah, absolutely. And then, like, you know, the embarrassing stuff is just so far back in that discography that, like, you know, you have to really search for it. And then that person just really wants to hear that, you know?
Yeah, totally. I mean, even like, you know, someone like Alex G, like there were so many albums that were just sitting on Bandcamp before his stuff kind of started connecting. And I feel like that's like, to me, some of the most captivating music is just hearing those really early stages of experimenting and, you know, someone just trying to find their sound through just making heaps and heaps of stuff and sharing it. Yeah, I think there's a lot of value in that, and there's probably not that much value in writing 4 songs and then kind of waiting for one of them to be found.
Yeah. Doing is the important thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm with you. That was like this is like so like random, but like DistroKid, you know, for example, just like, you know, the, you know, DIY, you know, distribution. Their whole, you know, I at first, like when I was like thinking about going to DistroKid versus like CD Baby, it's like, okay, I pay once and it's there, you know, that's it. With like DistroKid, I have to pay every year. That's so annoying. But you know what? Like, you know, but it's as many songs as I want to upload. And I think that's like the right attitude for artists, actually, is like, hey, I'm just going to keep putting out songs, you know, all the time and don't have to worry about the fee. I'm just like, you know, being like they're I'm not sponsored by them, you know, but their like logo is like, be prolific. Like that's exactly what you need to do. Like you need, I think for artists, emerging artists, is like, just be prolific. Just keep putting stuff out.
I don't think I've ever regretted making something or releasing something. And even the songs that, like, yeah, I feel like in my career there have been moments where I've put something out and really not had any big aspirations for it, and it's really kind of connected with people beyond my, like, anything that I thought could have happened. And then there have been other songs where I kind of thought, oh yeah, this is a sure thing, and then it's come out and it's gone okay, but not as well as some of those other ones. And I think you can really get caught up in that stuff, but I've never regretted releasing anything. And even those songs that I thought would take me somewhere that maybe didn't, kind of had their own little surprises for me down the line, in terms of, you know, maybe someone heard it and then I think one of the really beautiful and exciting things about the artist side of things is that you really don't know what any of the music is going to do. And you can kind of look at the stats and the numbers and stuff and get some kind of picture of it, but you don't really know what each of those, like, you don't know the substance of each of those times that the music was heard. And I think that everything just kind of has a way of finding its place somehow. And and I think that there's so much value in just sharing things with people that I think you should just do it.
Right. You never know what's going to resonate with who. And I think you got to look at the big picture, right? Like, I'm doing this body of work and some of it's going to, you know, resonate with some people and some of it's going to resonate with other people. And like, it, you know, you can't look at like each individual song. It might come down to an individual song, right? But like, you can't look at it like that. You got to look at it like, okay, this is what I'm doing, all of this stuff, and some of it's going to stick some places.
Yeah.
You know,
and if like wanting it to stick is the thing that's driving you to make it, I think you're probably going to be setting yourself up for a career full of disappointment, you know, like music sticking and connecting and all of that stuff is like a really nice byproduct, I think, of all of this.
Yeah. It's the music that keeps you in the studio.
I think so. And the people.
Yeah. For sure. Right. Absolutely. Well, I think Ruby Smith said it best, our you know, who was on the show and is a friend of yours. She said, without the people, it's just gear. So
yeah, totally. Gear's so boring. I mean, it's pretty fun, but it's I don't know.
Totally. Well, let's move on to the sauce segment so people could kind of hear what you're up to. So you sent me a song called Swing of Things by Maya, and we'll have a listen to it for about 90 seconds, and we'll talk about what went into that track. Sound cool?
Cool.
I think I'm bad news. With that said, when I win, I lose. Taking back everything I said to you. I can't tell my own lies from the truth.